I want to be the best. Today's fighters, they have been taught that that's not the way to do it nowadays. Nowadays, go for the bag.
Got lucky because the only fight for Tank outside of after Lamont Roach was Shakur Stevenson.
Facts.
Right? Now they've got another opponent that will do well at the gate because of the controversy.
Yep.
And it ain't Shakur Stevenson. I keep telling people Shakur Stevenson beats Tank.
Look at an article when we look at all the great fighters that's been, I wouldn't say disrespected, but they was going through that. Oh, he ain't fight this, he ain't do this. All of them go through that. That's part of the boxing game. Stay strong, youngin'. You know.
Roy Jones Jr. recently confronted Gervonta Tank Davis, telling him directly that he should be fighting Shakur Stevenson, not Jake Paul. Roy expressed disappointment, saying that today's boxers seem more focused on making money than on creating history or leaving behind a legacy. He explained that Tank has likely adopted this way of thinking from his mentor, Floyd Mayweather, preferring safe, high-paying fights instead of challenging ones that could define his place in boxing history. According to Roy, this attitude reflects how the sport has shifted over time, from being about pride and passion to becoming a business focused on profit.
And things, so why can't he do it? You know what I'm saying? He made more money than anybody. He was smarter than everybody. He didn't take too many stupid risks. That's what he did, and it worked for him. And people are okay with that and accepting it. So why can't Tank do it? Tank can do the same thing the mentor did. That's what the mentor is for, to teach you how to do this thing the smart way and not get you hurt, not have to take no risks, not to take many chances. So if that's what you learn, wow, if that's the easy way out.
Many boxing fans and experts agree that a matchup between Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis would truly capture the spirit of competition in boxing. Both fighters are at the top of their game, with real skill, discipline, and proven achievements, making their potential fight far more meaningful than Tank's current choice to face Jake Paul, who is still viewed by many as a YouTuber-turned-boxer rather than a legitimate contender. Fans want to see real fighters testing themselves against one another, not just high-priced exhibitions made for entertainment. Shakur and Tank have both built their reputations through hard work and mastery in the ring. Their fight would not only excite fans, but also settle once and for all who the most complete fighter of this generation is. Supporters have been waiting for this showdown for years because it represents everything boxing should be: legacy, skill, and respect. Not social media hype or easy paydays.
We can get Shakur to have 2 belts. We have Tank to get a couple of the belts. And you have a undisputed fight for those two in Las Vegas, in America, between 2 American guys getting undisputed championship of the world. That would be a mega fight. And we're talking about 2 guys that you have the most dominant, persistent, powerful guy, pound for pound powerful guy, I should say, in Tank, who also is very good defensively. But then you're fighting the best defensive fighter in the entire world, in my opinion. That is a fight I would love to see happen. I would be a big fan of, but I think if we could let that kind of fester and develop for a little bit, and we get that fight, summertime next year, fall of next year, where this is an undisputed fight, I think that's the fight we would love to see happen. I would be all for that, and I think it's realistic. Like I said, I don't think Tank's losing to anybody except for possibly Shakur, and I don't think Shakur's losing to anybody except for possibly.
Boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. made a bold statement, saying that Jake Paul will never become a world champion. He didn't say this out of dislike, but out of pure understanding of what it truly takes to reach the top of the sport. Roy explained that boxing requires more than just good training and fame. It demands years of discipline, sharp instincts, and mental toughness that only come with real ring experience. He acknowledged Jake's progress and the attention he has brought to boxing, but made it clear that real greatness comes from facing skilled opponents, not from picking easy fights or building fame. Roy's words carried the weight of someone who's fought against the best, reminding everyone how much the meaning of boxing has changed for many of today's new stars.
Will become a world champion?
No.
Why?
I think if they make him fight tough opponents, guys with experience, those guys will beat him. Now, if you catch somebody like myself at the end of their career, or somebody like Tyson, he caught at the end of their career, the chances are much higher. Because now it becomes more of a 50-50. You got a guy who's better than him, but the age factor. You understand me? And that's the only way to balance it for him to make it a 50-50 fight. Somebody who's on his level at the same age, those guys have too much experience. You understand me? So he's not going to beat those guys. But you find a guy who is past his prime, who has a mentality further than his, but past their prime, it kind of evens the stakes.
Tim Bradley shared his thoughts, saying that Shakur Stevenson doesn't necessarily need to fight Gervonta Davis. In his opinion, if Shakur truly believes Tank hasn't faced serious opponents or achieved much, then chasing that fight doesn't make sense. Bradley explained that Shakur's motivation might not be about legacy, but rather about the spotlight and attention that Tank's name brings. He said Tank is a big draw in terms of money and audience, which is why Shakur wants to share the ring with him, not because of a genuine rivalry. Bradley's comments point out a bigger issue in today's boxing world. Too many fighters are chasing fame and financial gain rather than proving who's the best. Still, he admitted that Shakur probably sees Tank as a challenge worth taking, because Tank represents power, popularity, and pride. Bradley, however, emphasized that true champions should care about legacy first, not just pay-per-view numbers.
So on and so forth. So, with that being said, why even want to entertain the fight with Tank Davis? I mean, how much credit are you going to really get, Shakur, besides the money, right? That's what Tank brings. He brings interest. He brings a lot of fans in the seats, you know. But as far as legacy goes, if people are holding Tank at a very low status, well, do you need him? Do you really need him? How you doing, man? Good morning. Do you really need him? Because I personally don't think that you need him, you know. Shakur, you should be here to create your own legacy. You know, you're about the competition. You are about that bread as well. And I think it's important for you to really look at the landscape, man, of boxing and see where your big money fights are, you know, besides Tank Davis. As you know, you hear through the grapevine, I think he even told you on X that, you know, he's contemplating retirement after his Jake Paul fight. You know, you're getting ready, hopefully, if Teofimo Lopez signs the contract, Shakur, to be fighting Teofimo Lopez, who has accomplished quite a bit in the sport, man, and has been in the ring with some legends, Josh Taylor, also Lomachenko. I think that type of fight makes sense. You know, going up to 140 pounds, getting another strap, you know, beating the quote-unquote the Ring Magazine champion, or considered the best #1 fighter at 140 pounds.
Carl Froch didn't hold back when giving his opinion about Jake Paul's choice to fight Gervonta Davis. He called Jake a bully for picking someone much smaller in size. Froch explained that Jake, being naturally heavier, is using that size difference to appear dominant, but that doesn't prove real boxing skill. He criticized the fight as more of a business move than a fair competition, saying Tank would be giving up too much in size and weight for it to be taken seriously. Froch added that boxing should always be about equal skill, courage, and fair play, not about using physical advantage to look superior. His words echoed the frustration of many boxing purists who believe the sport should stay true to its roots rather than turning into a show built for clicks and viral moments.
Ridiculous. Jake Paul's taking the piss, like he always does. Just from saying I'm going to fight AJ, so now he's fighting Gervonta Davis.
Yeah.
He was 100 pounds in weight lighter. 100 pounds. Weight divisions in boxing are split up, some of them, the lower weights, by 3 or 4 pounds. All I can say about Jake Paul fighting somebody half his size is, he's a bully. Why are you fighting a guy half his size? It's wrong.
Yeah.
He's gone from Krusty the Clown now to Sideshow Bob. He's getting worse. You know what I mean? Like, this is a guy that's just taking a piss out of the sport, and I don't think this has actually gained much interest. The press conference was dead.
Yeah,
I noticed there wasn't many press there. It's not had big media coverage.
Yeah.
I think people are finally realising, actually, that this is a big charade. And yeah, I think I'm not impressed. Gervonta Davis, I think maybe he's had enough of the game. He got a draw in his last fight. He was lucky to get the draw as well. But yeah, the whole thing, again, it's a clown show. And Jake Paul's a bull.
Shakur Stevenson confidently stated that Gervonta Tank Davis would never want to face him in the ring because he knows how tough that fight would be. Shakur said this not out of arrogance, but out of belief in his own skills. He feels Tank's camp understands how dangerous a matchup against him would be, especially because of his defensive mastery and ring IQ. Shakur has earned a reputation for reading opponents quickly and controlling the tempo of the fight, a style that could frustrate an aggressive power puncher like Tank. His comments were seen by many as a psychological move, subtly challenging Tank's courage and suggesting that his recent fight choices reflect caution, not ambition. Fans saw this as Shakur's way of pressuring Tank to accept the fight, But so far, Tank has remained silent, focusing instead on high-paying bouts that carry less risk.
One more question before I go. Why not fight Tank at 135?
Tank ain't gonna fight him, man. He not gonna fight him.
You gotta realize with Tank, he on that other side where he gonna act
Take
like
all the cupcakes. Alex, say it.
Man, I'm quite sure.
Look,
Bro, you saying he don't want to put that record up?
Look,
Shady, I know Tank.
Man.
I know Tank, Shady.
I know Tank too.
Let him talk. Go ahead.
Hey, I know Tank too, and I know for a fact at the end of the day, like, he is not jumping into no fight with me. Like, that's a whole different type of atmosphere. That's not like fighting on same
So
dude.
basically, you telling me Tank's scared?
I ain't gonna say the man scared. I'm just saying for a fact.
So what
I
you
know
saying?
he not jumping in the ring.
Promoter Eddie Hearn offered his honest view, saying he doesn't believe Gervonta Davis ever seriously considered fighting Jake Paul for competition. Hearn said Tank had the chance to face Lamont Roach again or take on Shakur Stevenson, but instead went with the easier and more profitable option. According to Hearn, Tank accepted the Jake Paul fight because it promised a massive paycheck with less danger. He added that if Tank truly wanted to challenge himself, he would have taken the Stevenson fight, a matchup that would test both fighters' skills, endurance, and heart. Hearn confidently stated that if Shakur and Tank ever meet in the ring, Shakur would come out on top due to his precision, patience, and superior boxing intelligence.
Promoter. What would the next step be for Tank?
I heard they were going to fight Jake Paul. When I see Jake Paul at the event and I see Jake Paul posting from the private jet with a picture of Gervonta Davis.
Slapped it.
Yeah, but they had that for a reason. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
You had to buy it. You had to get it made.
Yeah, but I can't believe that fight was going to happen. But anyway, crazy stuff's happening. Yeah, you got to rematch Lamont Roach. You got to. It'll probably get ordered. That's the reality by the New York State Athletic Commission. But listen, they may have got lucky because the only fight for Tank outside of after Lamont Roach was Shakur Stevenson.
Facts.
Right? Now they've got another opponent that will do well at the gate because of the controversy.
Yep.
And it ain't Shakur Stevenson. I keep telling people Shakur Stevenson beats Tank.
You cannot say
that Shakur Stevenson would not have beaten Tank last Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
When Shakur Stevenson criticized Gervonta Davis for agreeing to fight Jake Paul, calling him not competitive, it stirred strong reactions among fans and analysts. Shakur felt Tank was wasting his talent by taking fights that didn't challenge him. Some analysts, however, disagreed, arguing that it's unfair to judge Tank's competitiveness based on one exhibition match. They pointed out that every boxer goes through periods where they choose fights for financial reasons or exposure. Still, Shakur's frustration was clear. To him, it was disappointing to see a fighter of Tank's caliber lower his standards just for publicity.
Talking about Gervonta Davis. Now, he's being asked about Gervonta, so it's not as if he's just going out of his way to just start talking nonsense, and I don't believe he's talking nonsense any way it goes, but he was asked in one of his recent interviews about Gervonta, and he said that he doesn't believe Gervonta Davis is a competitive fighter right now. That is because he is fighting Jake Paul in a exhibition fight that will be taking place. I do believe it's November 13th or somewhere around there is going to be the date. Obviously, Shakur Stevenson is talking out the side of his neck with that because just because Gervonta Davis takes one exhibition doesn't mean that he's not a competitive fighter. He just fought Lamont Roach earlier this year, proves that he is obviously a competitive fighter, and he's already stated that once he goes and picks up this money from Jake Paul, that he's going to come back and he's going to go back to boxing. So I reject the idea that Gervonta Davis is not a competitive fighter. He's not fully into the scene like Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Mike Tyson are, where Mike Tyson has had, his second or third exhibition. This will be his third one coming up. He had one against Roy Jones. He had another one against Jake Paul, and now he's going to have one against Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has been doing these for years and years and years, ever since way back in 2016 or 2017, whatever the year was, when he beat Conor McGregor in what should have been an exhibition, but was counted as Floyd Mayweather's 50th professional win. Gervonta Davis is not has not done nearly enough to be considered a full-time exhibition fighter. So I think Shakur Stevenson is not just a little bit off on that, but a lot off on that. I just think that is an unfair representation of.
Tank Davis's longtime trainer, Calvin Ford, came forward to defend him, reminding everyone that fighters have lives outside the ring too. He explained that boxing, while exciting for fans, is still a dangerous job, and fighters deserve the right to make choices that protect their health and future. Ford said critics are often too quick to judge, forgetting that every legendary boxer has faced similar accusations of ducking fights or chasing money. He made it clear that Tank has earned the right to decide what's best for himself, and that criticism won't change his record or achievements. According to Ford, that's simply the reality of boxing. Fans will always want more, but fighters must think about the long game.
Rematch Lamont. What are your thoughts on that, you know?
Tank, everybody he fight, he make famous. Roach was a nobody before he fought. Nobody. World champion. You know what I'm saying? I look at it like this. If any of them top guys that they talk about would have had an offer that been offered to Tank, they'd have jumped on it too. That's happening. You know what I'm saying? My suggestion is, you put me in a light where everybody know me now. You know what I'm saying? Let me keep it moving. I come back to Tank later. You know what I'm saying? I understand that's the biggest payday of his life. You know what I'm saying? But it's more out there. You know him now. You know what I'm saying? You look at Pitbull, he running with it. Brody, still on top. Barrio, still on top. You know what I'm saying? Martin about to fight soon, so it's about to see where he's at. I just look at it like, oh, forget about that. Tank, go in and do what you got to do, because at the end of the day, it's about taking care of you and your family. You know what I'm saying?
It was more of a business decision for this fight. Is there still hope that a rematch happens?
It's based on the individuals, you know what I'm saying? Because we have seen old fighters get back in the ring to finish this settlement. It's based on the fighters or what they want to do. And one thing people don't understand, money is being spent before the fight. You see what we walked into. It was a nice press conference from New York to here. A lot of money been involved doing what they're doing to get it off, you know what I'm saying? And actually, everybody didn't believe in the Tank and Roach fight, the first fight. But look at it now, it came into be a bigger fight now. So we had to wait and see how this fight.
Boxing analyst Showbiz the Adult looked at the fight from a different angle, calling Jake Paul an opportunist who will capitalize on any mistake Tank makes. He warned that Tank shouldn't underestimate Jake just because he's a celebrity boxer. According to Showbiz, Jake has real power and confidence, and if he sees an opening, he'll go for a knockout without hesitation. He advised Tank to stay sharp, take the fight seriously, and not treat it as just another easy paycheck.
Gang, this ain't gonna be nothing, and Calvin Ford is like, he ain't gonna play with you. Listen, Jake Paul is an opportunist. We know this is an exhibition, but Jake Paul is about his bottom line and MVP's bottom line. And if that means sacrifice Tank by knocking his ass over the top rope, Jake Paul is going to deliberately do it. He's going to go out there to knock him out. I promise you. That's why I'm telling Tank Davis, don't bull jive. See, there's a lot of people eating off of Tank Davis right now because, like Calvin Ford said, Tank, you're being too nice. Where's the beast at? Grow your mane back out. We got to see the beast.
Chael Sonnen shared his thoughts on how massive the buildup for the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight has become. He said the promotion looks like a multi-million-dollar Hollywood production, with press events designed to stir up drama and tension. Sonnen noted that Jake went personal during the promotion, even bringing up Tank's past legal issues, which added fuel to the rivalry. Tank's calm and refusal to respond showed both his discomfort and restraint, but it also made things more personal between them. Sonnen said that at this point, the feud isn't just about boxing, it's emotional. Both fighters are trying to outshine each other in and out of the ring. He concluded that the amount of money, media attention, and marketing behind this fight proves it's designed to break records, even if it lacks the raw competitiveness that traditional boxing fans crave.
Tank was not ready for this. I feel, should have known. I got an article written about me to personalize this, but I got insulted. I was insulted back in about 2012. I was known as the best guest. I was known as the best interview. I was known as the best guy for a press conference. And somebody comes out and they goes, hey, he's got these planned. He's got these lines planned ahead of time. This guy isn't so great. And I remember finding that very comical. I have never had a test in my life where the teacher told us a test was coming up that I didn't prepare for it. I couldn't imagine walking into something. It could be the fight itself. I couldn't imagine not preparing for it. And Tank was simply caught off guard. This is what he does. He's a descendant of Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd did as good of a job as anybody at making sure those press conferences in that image and that character, and it was nothing more than that. It was a character, but he made sure that it was dynamic and compelling. And I just share for you, like, he wasn't ready. And it got dirty. It got very, very dirty. Tank apparently has something where he was accused and possibly even charged. If I use the wrong words, I don't know the story. I learned it yesterday when Jake brought it up.
That wraps up today's coverage. Stay tuned for more updates. Until next time.